Today's podcast is going to be one for all of the truth seekers. We are going to kick it off by talking a little bit about the recent attempt at canceling Jason Aldean again, and how it really is boiling down to a massive decline in American values. Let's unravel the truth a little bit and discover why it is crucial to preserve and nurture the fundamental values within our families to create a better future for everyone. You do not want to miss this eye-opening, heart-pouring episode. Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm always rambling. Just ask my husband. I have a great family and a pretty cool life, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. That's hard to say, but my goal is to inspire and educate to help others hopefully find life beyond an addiction. I'm all things: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Getting healthy, momming, and politics. Get offended easily? You better stop listening. There is no point in wasting that Botox by stressing yourself out listening to a podcast. Welcome to Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna. Today's episode brought to you by products and services I'm thoroughly addicted to. Are you ready to transform your outdoor space into a stunning oasis? Look no further than Green Oasis, your premier lawn and landscape experts serving both Minnesota and Wisconsin. At Green Oasis, they specialize in creating breathtaking landscapes that will leave you in awe. From lush green lawns to exquisite garden designs, their team of skilled professionals is dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Their attention to detail and commitment to quality ensures that every project they undertake will exceed your expectations. But they're not just limited to landscaping. Their expertise extends to building beautiful decks that will become the envy of your neighborhood. Whether you're envisioning a cozy retreat for intimate gatherings or a spacious outdoor entertainment area, their talented craftsmen will bring your dream deck to reality. What sets them apart at Green Oasis is not only their exceptional quality of work, but also the friendliness and helpfulness of their dedicated team. Green Oasis, where your dream landscape becomes a reality. So, if you are ready to experience the Green Oasis difference, contact them today for a consultation. Their details are below in the show notes. Hey, welcome back to today's podcast. Make sure this is going to be a good one to share with any fellow Patriot friends or a fellow mom, right? This is going to be one that we're going to dive into the truth, talking about the values that we need to make sure we are installing into our families. So please make sure to share it and go onto the podcast app and rate and review the episode as well. All right, as we are kicking this off, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, spending this time with me. And this week in the pop culture, we had yet again another moment where Hollywood and honestly the left-leaning Americans and media are trying to cancel another individual who is standing up for what I feel is right. Jason Aldean recently put out his video for his song, Try That in a Small Town. And a lot of the media is talking about how it's brand new, he just released this. And no, truth be told, the song's been out for a while. The video is just coming out, which, I don't know. I mean, I know videos are still out there. People watch them a little bit. I've seen a few, but I don't know where and how people see these all the time, pretty much immediately. I mean, back in my day, talk about making myself sound old. Back in my day, I remember there was TRL on MTV, and that's how a lot of us would see the most recent popular videos. And I remember there were several other music channels that they just had shows and, music videos playing all of the time. So you could catch up on them. And I'm assuming, right, you're going to catch them on the internet, things like that. Now, I don't know the cool ways kids do it. So, if a song's really popular, the video will be, going around making its waves. But this one, pretty much as soon as I think it hit, this one made waves and people have been paying attention. The song, in my mind, I personally was a total fan of the lyrics, the video itself. And of course, it's getting a ton of hate from the left. And I think a lot of it is crap. Like, take your wines and shove them. That's where I'm at. I mean, some of the lyrics, for example, talking about, how in small towns, we don't carjack old ladies and we don't sucker punch people. We don't burn the American flag. We don't spit in the face of a police officer, right? Things that, I don't know, not too long ago, you would not have seen on the regular. And if you did see it, holy Hannah, that person is going to be facing some severe consequences, whether they are legal or, right, like the song says, try that in a small town. See what happens. The video also got a lot of flack because of the videos he had playing in the background, which, let's be real, the videos were real videos from media of what happened in our country in 2020 with the riots, with the looting, things that legit happened, things that as a Minnesotan, I saw on the regular here happening during kind of the kickoff of all those riots. And then during George Floyd's trial, of course the name is going to forsake me at this moment, but we had another incident in the cities here where there were more riots while the trial was going on. Deontay Wright, that was the gentleman's name, for the second event. And I mean, literally, we're sitting here watching exact things that were happening in the videos of this music video happening in, real life here in Minnesota. And I know it got, for some areas, way worse than what we even saw in Minnesota. So people getting upset about the video footage, he took real life. And his whole point was, we don't let this crap go on. We need to stomp this kinds of behavior out. And people are saying, oh, how dare he? What a threatening song. The lyrics are incredibly threatening. And in my mind, he's just saying, hey, try that in a small town. See what happens. And he doesn't specifically say, like, oh, you're going to get your ass beat, or, we're all going to come after you, or anything like that. And it just reminded me of the old school way, the values that a lot of us just kind of had instilled in us, thinking when you would do something and one of the threats you would get back would be, whoo, try that. See what your daddy's going to do, right? Or you wouldn't try it because you knew whether it was your daddy or just in general, somebody of, more elder status, you're going to get your ass whooped. You don't behave like that. And it's that old school mind of just respect in minding your behavior because you knew what was right, you knew what was wrong, and right now a lot of that is missing in our society. And yet, because Jason Aldean is telling the truth, showing these videos, they're trying to cancel him. And yet, from what I'm recalling, this is, I think, at least the second time Jason Aldean and his family are on the plank, essentially, walking it of getting canceled. The first time, I think it was more instigated because of what his wife had said. And she had just talked about some transgender stuff, standing up for kids. And she has 2 younger kids. I was completely on the same side as what she was saying as well. So even that first time, I was like, what a crock of crap. she's telling the truth, right? But right now we live in a society where telling the truth can definitely put you on that plank of, holy crap, am I going to get canceled? Another reason I know this video has kind of stirred up some controversy is, so he videotaped, oh, I'm really showing my age today, people. He had it recorded outside a courthouse in Tennessee. I want to say it was the Maury County courthouse, if I remember correctly. But either way, outside a courthouse down in Tennessee, and people are pissed. Do you know the history of that building? In 1927, a black man was lynched, and in 1946, it was the site for a race riot. This is just bad history. He shouldn't be there. But yet, okay, if that's how everyone feels, why is the building still there? And obviously still up for rent, right? And Jason Aldean is not the first person to utilize this space in a more Hollywoodish type of way. This exact courthouse has actually been in other music videos. It's also been in movies, including the Hannah Montana movie, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Miley Cyrus did not get canceled because this courthouse was in her movie. But yet, Jason Aldean is catching flack, along with, right, the lyrics, the fact that he put real footage of the riots, catching flack, and how horrible this song and music video are. So, again, like I was saying, is it because he did such horrible things with this song? Or is it because Jason Aldean and his wife are patriots and they stand up for their values, they stand up for their beliefs, and right now we're living in a time, anyone that stands up for those, you catch shit. So, this whole music road, right? I could dive in strong. I could really, I could get on my soapbox. I honestly was yesterday a little bit with a girlfriend, and I could go on for hours of, really, this song's not allowed. This song's getting canceled, because it got canceled to the level of Country Music TV has actually banned the video from their station, from their channel. But yet, let's just talk for one sec. Let's, dive down the wormhole very momentarily. But yet we live in a society where songs like WAP, like, please, go look up those lyrics. Are you freaking kidding me? Those are allowed, right? Songs that literally talk about police killing or drug overdosing, right? I even think of, it was the Grammys, right? Where we have males dressed in basically leotards up there simulating sex acts as they are dressed like Satan. But yet Jason Aldean is evil. I don't know. I don't know about you, right? I was born in a world where the ultimate evil was Satan. Like, that's what I was raised to believe. I still believe that more than ever. But yet Jason Aldean's song, it promotes violence. It promotes, bad history. This song is evil. But yet, Sam can get up there and literally be dressed as the icon of evil. As he's, mocking that he's giving blowjobs and things like that. That's okay. And like I said, I can go into the weeds on that one for a long time. Music is not really my jam. Like, I listen to music. I like music. It can change my mood. It can make me happy. Yes, yes, yes. All those things. But music's not my thing. But it is my husband's. Any song, almost any song, he knows the name. He knows who wrote it. He knows, maybe not who wrote it. He knows who sings it. Different genres. The girls know it. Like, I'm honestly kind of grateful that the girls have that skill set that he has, because I think it's cool. But coming from a family that we have listened to quite the variety of music, some probably, as we're coming more into some of our beliefs these last few years, our music changes have changed a little bit. But yeah, there's a small twinge even of mom guilt of the music that we've allowed for the girls at some points. And we're just, coming to our landing with what we believe. And the girls are understanding, but at the same time, I also don't want them to be completely naive. So there are some of these songs out there that they've seen or that they've, been singing. But like I said, I could go down that wormhole all day. But I just want, I guess, to give you some food for thought. Chew on it later. Think on that. Okay, why the hell are some of these things over here allowed? That, in my opinion, way more evil. Way more evil. But yet, Jason Aldean's song, that, in my mind, is just some solid Patriot values. That one's getting canceled. So what do I actually want to talk about today, right? It's literally the basics of, what the fuck really is happening then? If this song is something that is getting canceled, what is the underlying reason? The Patriot values, sure. But what it really is lining up to be is the values and the morals of mainstream America are changing, and they're changing quick. We've been, on a downslide, I think, for forever, right? And I'm sure there's points in history, if you even look at the Bible, there's been points in history that we've been at this level, if not further. But the rate of speed that's happening now is incredibly alarming. And it's impacting every arena of life, not just our music industry, right? I sat down and I was really thinking about this. The whole Jason Aldean thing really got me stirred up. And I was like, what are some of the underlying reasons? I sat down and was really thinking on this because as a mom, as somebody involved more in, the public square, I like to think on this because I do feel if we give it some time, if we give it some energy, hopefully we can start to turn some things around. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. And I broke it down into, roughly a dozen or so values that have really been shifting. Now let's talk about it. Let's talk a little bit about what those values are and why they're shifting. And ultimately, what can we do to get them back? So the first one is respect. Respect has been a value that I think we've all learned about, at least, right? So I can't speak to the school kids now because I'm not in those classrooms. I don't have a little anymore. Haley at this point, she's up in high school. So I don't have a child in the elementary ages, but I remember learning the basic fundamentals of respect, even in school, right? RESPECT. Treating others with kindness, giving that consideration for others, that empathy, regardless of differences. I think the schools are going to tell you they're teaching it, but the differences are actually what they're leaning into in a lot of schools. And right now we're in a society where there's very little respect for anyone. And I think one of the biggest issues that it trickles down to is that a lot of parents are not raising up their kids to even respect them. And the reasons on that can be many. There are a lot more homes without a full family, a lot of fatherless homes, a lot of homes where the parents are busy and off at work. We're just in a busy society. A lot of, families that, I don't want to be as hard on my kids as my parents were on me, so they give them more grace, more leniency, and the next thing you know, you're like, damn, those kids do not respect their parents at all. And then it trickles into society as a whole. Because I think maintaining that respect for parents is step one. And you continue to build off that. That's level one, and they continue to learn and go from there. And honestly, now we live in a society where there is disrespect that is essentially terrorizing every avenue of America. Whether it be, kids that are literally now not just disobeying their teachers, but literally beating up their teachers, literally tormenting their peers. We have no respect on any level in many arenas. Jason Aldean's song talks a lot about that, right? If you look at a lot of the acts that he calls out, spitting in the face of a police officer, carjacking an old lady, no respect for authority, no respect for your elders. The second value that we've really seen a decline in is honesty. And I think honesty is a hard one, right? As kids, we all learned about it. But learning to be honest, even as a child, it's hard because sometimes if I'm honest, I know I'm going to be in trouble. Or I don't know what the consequence is really going to look like. But right now we live in a society where being dishonest has become more mainstream on all levels, from the top down, right? Media, very dishonest in many ways. Politicians, let's be honest, right? We've seen it in government. Teachers, right? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why are teachers being dishonest? I don't know, maybe because now teachers are literally keeping secrets from parents and telling the kids that they will help them be dishonest and hold secrets, training them to be dishonest. The third value is responsibility. And responsibility, again, kind of like honesty, right? It's one that we learn, hopefully, at a young age, but it's hard. Because responsibility means you're owning up to your own actions. You're owning up to the choices that you have made as an individual. And that's not always easy. Sometimes there's moments that you got to kind of swallow your pride and just go on with the responsibility. You just take it because that's part of being a good human. But yet when you live in a society filled with entitlement and people that just don't feel like, I shouldn't have to own up to that. That wasn't 100% my fault. The blame game, right? You come to a society where it's harder and harder to have responsibility because, again, it's that trickle-down effect of there's just no true understanding of what natural consequences are. Because if someone's never taught responsibility, as the consequences come their way, they're like, well, this can't be my fault, right? I make jokes that this kind of reminds me of people that, when I see somebody who struggles with responsibility, I'm like, oh, there we go. Playing with the matches again. And kind of my inside joke is, well, then a fire will erupt and this person will be like, what the hell? How did that happen? Well, because you played with matches, right? Like the full understanding of responsibility is just not what it used to be in society. And adults fit into this just as much as younger. All right, the fourth value, compassion. Instilling empathy and making sure that we are truly caring for other people's feelings and their needs. And this is not being sympathetic. This is not, oh, poor you, pity, pity, pity. This is more, can I walk in another person's shoes? Can I understand what they're going through? Can I, be shoulder to shoulder essentially with them? And I laugh because this is a skill that as a coach, I have to have. I had to train myself on this. This was something that was preached at us. And yeah, I may be a more tough love type of individual, and that comes through in my coaching. But it was something that, as a coach, I always got decent marks on until, I went for a promotion at one point to go into leadership in a health coaching company. And, oh, well, you're just not empathetic enough. And I'm thinking, how am I not empathetic enough? I get great marks on being empathetic with my clients, right? And one of the examples was, well, when so-and-so had an excuse of why they didn't get something done, you didn't help her create a plan and get down there in there and, tell her how bad you felt. And, well, because that's not true empathy, right? So I went off on a tangent there. But I think in general, compassion, empathy as a whole, we struggle with this as a society because it's almost like we live in a society right now where we are trying to force people to be overly compassionate, even when we shouldn't have to be, even when that person honestly, hey, get some responsibility in this, right? Get it together, own it a little bit. And yet we're being forced to have to try to feel this person's feelings and, validate them, even when we're they were just playing with matches. Yeah, there's a fire going. That's their bad. And I think it comes down to the fact that we just live in a society where everybody feels, well, I'm the most important. Everyone else should have to take a back seat. Their feelings should be in the back seat. Mine are in the driver's seat. Mine are the most important, right? So it's not that we generally are lacking compassion as a society. I just think it's misdirected. Right now, we are being told we have to be compassionate, and we are having to be compassionate for things that we're well, no. Part of that is adulting. Part of that is being a good human. No, I shouldn't have to be compassionate about people's, stupid ass mistakes. Give them some grace, but at the same time, their responsibility better kick in as well. All right, the fifth value that I think is definitely having its impact on our society is perseverance. And this comes down to, teaching our kids so that adults of the future, and there's some adults right now that suck at perseverance as well, that resilience, that ability to say, I'm never giving up. Striving hard to achieve goals. And this is definitely one of, my strengths, almost to a fault. I will not give up, even when I probably should, right? And I'm learning with time and with age to pray a little bit more and, okay, God, tell me when the timing is there. Tell me if I need to walk away, right? And the fact of the matter is, right now we're in a society where a lot of people don't have that value of perseverance. They may say they do, but when it comes to rubber meeting the road, they give up because they're oh, really? I have to still keep going? Oh, this is hard. This is difficult. I think one of the reasons is just less patience. It takes patience to persevere and continue to push through. Not to mention, right, we come from a society of essentially helicopter parents. Parents that want to fix it all for our kids. We want to give them the best life possible. I want to give them a better life than my parents gave me. Fair. I do too. But that doesn't mean we don't let them struggle. We don't let them learn how to push through, how to achieve a goal without us doing it for them. And that's hard. That is super hard. I get that. There's plenty of times I watch the girls struggling and I just want to do it for them. And there's been moments, yeah, I do. But there's also been plenty of moments where I jump in and give them a tip or two and then back out and let them do it. Right? Because it's our job to give them guidance and teach them. It is not our job to do it for them. I think another reason that kind of trickles into this too, popped into my head right now, is participation trophy world, right? We come from a world where no matter what you do, you're supposed to be rewarded. You're supposed to be given a participation ribbon or a participation trophy. Well, we were last place and yet we still got a trophy, right? Woo, go me. No. And there are people out there that like almost take that as a slam, like, well, crap, I don't want this stupid trophy. I didn't earn this. But we also have people out there that are like, cool, this is good enough. I'm good. No, we want you to work hard. We want you to strive so that you continue to get better and hopefully get a real, first, second, or third place trophy next year. All right, moving down. Moving into values. Value number 6, gratitude. In a society of people who have the gimmies, I don't think it's a wonder why gratitude has taken a hit. How do you stop and pause and be grateful for what you have when the gimmies for the next thing have already kicked in? We are in a society where everyone just wants to acquire more and more and more and more, whether it be more stuff, more skills, more education, more friends, more likes, more hearts, right? We just want more. And you can't have true appreciation and look at what you have with the eyes of, wow, look at this. This is a true blessing. If we just consistently are focused on what is next. For me, this one is definitely, kind of the goals. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I do have perseverance. So I set goals for myself and I like to achieve said goals. And I go after goal after goal after goal. And sometimes I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to pause and have gratitude for the goals I'm achieving before I move on to the next one. And I can tell you that's a recent thing within the last few years here. Before that, I was just, it was a cycle consistently. Achieve a goal, go to the next one. Achieve a goal, go to the next one. And number one, that's exhausting. But number two, it really was not teaching me to have gratitude for what I was accomplishing or what I was getting or achieving or having. Value number 7, generosity. All right, well, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the last one, right? How are you supposed to acquire more stuff with the gimmies that many of us have if we're giving our resources away? How would we acquire more stuff, right? Not to mention, we live in a society where many of us have that mindset of, well, I deserve this, or I earned this. Why would I give this away? I do think people still have that urge inside, right, to be generous and to help the needy or help the poor or help somebody who needs that supporting hand. But yet, many of us don't want to have to be the person to give it. We don't want to be the actual generous individual that, like, it's coming from our pocket. We just want to watch that kind act happen. We want to make sure it's facilitated. So I think that's also why many people who, go vote and hear about these plans that the government have for, oh, we're going to make sure we do this and this and this for other people. Well, hell yeah, I'm going to vote for that. Thinking, it's not truly going to impact me, but that sounds cool. That's a generous thing. If I vote for that, I'm generous. Well, in the end, yeah, it still does impact everybody, right? Because it comes from taxes typically, but it's also kind of the cheating way of being generous. If you want to be generous, give, right? Donate. Whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure. You be the generous individual if you're trying to own that persona. I also do know that, it is hard to be more generous, especially when the economy is more difficult, right? Right now, I know a lot of people are struggling just to put food on the table full out and to do the normal things their families used to do. But we can also look at this and spin it a little bit that, okay, yeah, times are tough. And I may not have to give away house and home, essentially. But maybe right now during the difficult economic time, a small thing could actually really be a big thing for somebody who really needs it. So it's not like, okay, yeah, to be generous, you have to give away everything. No. Small acts still count. Value number 8, forgiveness. And, this one's hard for me. I think it's hard for women. Let's just put it right out there, right? Holding grudges. Women, we can be good at this. I'm also learning, though, men can very much be good at this as well. I know with each other, right? Oh, they hug, they punch each other in the shoulder, and they move on. That's kind of the joke. But I've also definitely seen some men hold some solid grudges. Offering forgiveness is not easy. It's literally sometimes like, I'm stabbing myself as I do this. That's what it feels like, right? In some situations. But now we're in a space where forgiveness, why would I forgive that person? Let's just cancel them instead, and we never have to forgive them. Because then we can just move on. They're gone. They're canceled. They're forgotten. And yeah, I just talked about it at the top of the show, right? With Jason Aldean, Hollywoodish figure. He's getting potentially, or attempted, to be canceled. The song's actually trending very well. But you are seeing cancellations go down the line. I mean, kids are getting canceled in school, and are they using that language? Probably not always. I'm sure when they're trying to be cool, maybe. I'm sure there's some kids using that. But yeah, the bullying, we've seen it. It's so much easier just to basically slaughter this person, slam them, cancel them as an individual versus have to forgive. And right now, society is allowing that behavior. Not to mention, and I touched on this briefly, right? We're living in a society too where they are teaching our kids from a young age holding grudges is okay. And if you don't believe me, think about it this way. Okay? They are teaching Black kids it's okay to hold a grudge for what happened to your ancestors and hold it against the white kids because it was their ancestors potentially that put your ancestors in slavery. Right? They are teaching lacking forgiveness right in schools. And you can argue, you can push back on that and say it's not happening. I've seen it with my own eyes coming from my daughter's high school last year, right? Yeah, they are teaching holding grudges, holding anger. They are not teaching forgive, move on, love, find peace. That's far from the message. All right, value number 9, courage. So this used to be a big one, right? Thinking Wizard of Oz, the lion, the courageous lion, he needed that heart. We want our kids, we want ourselves to be able to stand up in the face of challenges. We want to be able to stand up for what's right. But it's difficult because right now in a divisive culture where we are even divided on, what's right? If you stand up for the wrong, right, you are screwed. Look at Jason Aldean. That song, in my mind, he is standing up for what's right, yet getting crushed in media because he's not standing up for what the left believes is right. Okay? So these conflicting viewpoints are difficult even for us as adults. So teaching our kids how to be courageous is a scary thing because, I don't want my kids to face criticism or rejection or, help being canceled. I don't want them to have to deal with that. So if I teach them just to kind of mind their own and keep quiet, they'll be better off. So we live in a society of what? A bunch of lemmings? People that have no guts to stand up and say, no, this is not happening this way. This is wrong. This is evil. This is sin. Value number 10, open-mindedness. So open-mindedness, I think this kind of goes along with the courageous piece as well. It also goes with the forgiveness piece. Again, I think our selfish society fits right into this as well, because how can we be open-minded if we're selfish people? We just want to focus on what we care about, what we think about. And I don't think social media is helping either, because it's very easy to live in an echo chamber where the only opinions you see align with yours. And then typically with the calculated feed you have, the ones that you do see that are not aligned with yours are typically then shredded in the comments, because that's how crafty the algorithms get. I mean, they want to keep you on the platform, so they're going to show you things that will keep you on there longer, right? So yeah, you may see an opinion that doesn't align with you from the top, but you read in those comments and you're like, oh yeah, check these people out. Yeah, they're speaking what's true. All right. Value 11, self-discipline. Having that self-control. The ability to know, hey, yes, I can delay my gratification for better benefits down the road, whether those better benefits be in 5 minutes or in 10 years, right? The recent study on social media that was kind of trending, I think it was like a year ago, right? Was a study where you put the kids in the room with a marshmallow and you say, okay, I'll give you one more marshmallow if you wait to eat this first one until I get back. And there would be a couple kids that would wait and they'd get the second marshmallow. And then there would be the kid that the moment the adult walked out of the room, that marshmallow was devoured, right? Self-discipline. I think having self-discipline is harder and harder and harder by the day, because we do live in a world full of instant gratification, driven by, many things, but I think technology is a big piece of that. We literally have anything at our fingertips the moment we want it. And the moment we get, over that, frustrated with that, oh yeah, I got what I needed. It takes us a half a second, a quarter of a second to switch to something else. So not only that instant gratification, but constant distractions as well. Right? Technology is definitely helping destroy self-discipline. And I myself fall right into that. I can tell you, yesterday, for example, I was on my computer. It was being a little delayed. And I'm not even saying like delayed. I would say it would maybe take, roughly 1 or 2 seconds for a page to load. And I was completely annoyed. I'm like, what in the heck? I need to restart this. I need to clean this. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's like a second. A second, Jenna. Get over yourself. You have a second to wait. It doesn't need to load instantly the moment your mind thinks of it, right? All right. 12. Love. And no, I'm not talking love is love, right? No. A true sense of loving, caring, supporting, unconditional love. And the deal is, again, how do we really nurture true love, selfless love in a selfish society? And I think this starts at the base, right? Family. I think, for the most part, right, every parent loves their child. But we also live in a society where we are freaking busy. And showing love, showing true selfless, caring love and support for your child takes time. And it cannot be purchased. As much as many parents, many relationships, right, try to make that happen, can't be bought. It's not a purchasable thing. And for kids that are unfortunately not given that skill from the beginning, I think it can be learned. Even I think if you get a few windows of it, it's still far better than none. But the basics of actually loving selflessly are missing huge right now. And my final value. So, faith. And I kept faith until last because it's honestly the tie. It's the thread that loops all of these together. If we're truly living in the Word, I'm not saying picking and choosing the Word, not picking and choosing a passage or picking and choosing a single sentence from the Bible. If you're living in the Word and you know the Word, it's going to help us with all 12 of these, the additional 12. Because God talks about all of these values. He trains us on these. He teaches us these. He wants us to be living these. Many of us are thinking, what is happening to society? But yet we don't want to go here. We don't want to say, well, it can't be the removal of faith because we live in a country, freedom of choice, right? You can choose whatever faith you want. And I don't want to not support my friend that's an atheist. And I don't want to support my friend that has decided they're into witchcraft instead. And I don't want to not support my sister who goes to a church that only preaches on one sentence every week. Like, I get it. But if we really hit the hard stuff, right? And we ask ourselves, what is happening? How can we not look to the fact that shit really started to go downhill again when God was removed? If you look to the Bible, my mind immediately goes in the second book of the Bible. And I'm thinking about when the Israelites left Egypt. And they were on their trek with Moses. And they had faith in God. They literally had just watched him put plagues down over Egypt. And they had faith. And that faith allowed them to make their exit. Right? Hence the name Exodus, the book of the Bible. But yet, a few days in, Moses goes up and he's meeting with God. And he's not there with them. And they lost faith. They immediately go back to their other ways and chaos completely hits. Well, yeah. They lost faith. And that's like a minuscule view. Meaning like it happened in a few days worth, right? Couple months of time. We're talking here, this has been years that God has slowly been being removed from the roots of America. I brought it up a couple episodes back when I went to DC and I walked in the Capitol and literally etched into the stone of the wall, "In God we trust." And I can honestly say, I guarantee you there are many Americans that would see that right now and scoff. Oh, that's disgusting. How dare that be in our Capitol building? We're looking at our society, and as it hits this decline, many people thinking, oh, what's happening? Trying to shift responsibility, right? Going into those values. Blaming parents, blaming teachers, blaming each other, blaming the government. I think the question is, well, is the Bible read in that home? The Bible says it, right? In Proverbs. Train up a child in a way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. So if you want to train up your kid to be a decent human, as our family says, right? I don't want my kids to be assholes. No, I don't. So it's my job, it's Michael's job to train the girls up now. People literally, I think one of the most repulsive things I see is when parents are on TV and they're blaming other people for their kids being assholes. It's like, can I grab a mirror for this person? And honestly, it's when it's a mom that it drives me bananas. Because I'm like, oh, dude, really? Like, get some self-awareness. Gather your own responsibility. But today, like I said, I kicked it off with a little pop culture. Honestly, because it's a hot topic right now. It riled me up pretty good this week. But I think in a good way. But again, we need to take it beyond that. What is going on? What's underneath all this? What's driving this to happen? Because if we keep just laughing at the media stories, being like, oh, crap, here it goes again, and then we move on, and we don't address the roots, we don't hopefully try to make traction on the roots, we're going to have more and more stories like that until that's all we see, or until they're all crushed out, right? Today, as we wrap here, I'm getting a poll. Honestly, I think we just need to take a moment. We need to pray. Because again, we need to lean into God. God gives us the ability in His Word to not only learn as individuals about all those values that we need to be putting into our own lives, but also make sure that we are training our kids up with as well. So I pray, Heavenly Father, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and your wisdom to blend the essential values. The values of respect, honesty, responsibility, compassion, perseverance, gratitude, generosity, forgiveness, courage, open-mindedness, self-discipline, love, and faith into our own individual lives, as well as the lives of our children. Help us as people to be shining examples of those values, walking in your light, your love, so our actions can inspire other people to follow the path that you've laid. May we foster a world of grace, a world filled with true, selfless love within our families and beyond. Lord, as we strive to teach our kiddos solid values, help us have the patience and perseverance to be solid role models. Help us ensure that our armor of God is on firmly every day, so that if we come across a difficult moment, we are protected. May our words and our actions be in line with what you teach. And may we raise up children that are compassionate, kind-hearted, and full of the values you have set forth for us. We surrender our fears to you and place our faith in your plan. Guide us on this journey of imparting the values that you honor and you contribute for our kids and for a better future with all generations to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Remember, if you are battling an addiction, reach out for help and support. There are many resources available to assist in your journey towards recovery. Surround yourself with a supportive community and never give up on the path towards a healthier and happier life. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and joining me on this journey. As you heard, I'm always rambling. But seriously, thank you for your support and make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I can't wait to share more with you on the next episode. Until then, keep on rambling. If you have found this podcast helpful and want to dive deeper into personal growth and self-improvement, be sure to head over to my website, jennadix.com. You'll find a wealth of resources there. There is a little less drugs, sex, and rock and roll these days, but whether you're interested in getting healthy, information on momming or parenting, or politics, jennadix.com has something for everyone. So, what are you waiting for? Head to jennadix.com today and start your journey towards personal growth and self-awareness. See you there.